I've already started. It's about 9 a.m. It's 9:15, 9:20, whatever. And I have been just kind of prepping. I think someone's here. Anyway, I'm waiting for my sponge to start bubbling. And then I'm going to be using this workspace. This is my church kitchen. I borrowed it, but I also am the kitchen manager here, so it's kind of my kitchen, at least in terms of, I feel like I'm at home here. So I've got my plan written out. So I'm about to mix my dough. I'm kind of annoyed because this industrial size mixer is the best thing ever, but I cannot find the hook which I need for dough, so I'm gonna have to hand mix it. It's probably in here somewhere. It's probably somewhere too high for me to be able to tell. I'm not that short, but I am kind of short, and the people who most often clean this space are quite tall and they like to put things up high. So I've been looking up high and I'm still not finding it. I would be more concerned that it was lost if anybody in the world would want to steal a gigantic dough hook, which I doubt. So anyway, yeah, I'll try to get some shots just of like each phase, other than the cutting up of the peaches, because I'm really not sure how I would set up the camera to show that part. But I've got a friend coming to keep me company and bring me lunch later today. I'm really excited. And my dad said that he might drop by as well. I had a crazy start to the day though, just while I'm still waiting on my sponge. I should say, yesterday hardly ended. I was up kind of late. What else is new? And let me try something. That's better. I was up kind of late, but gosh, where do I even start? I heard this sound in the very, very corner of the living room, like towards the door, and I was hoping it was just outside the door, but it was under the floor. I think we have a mouse. We knew that we had squirrels. We were hoping we didn't have mice. And we were hoping that whatever rodent we had was just attracted to the pecans in the garage, and we threw those away, but apparently one of them has gotten under the house and is trying to nibble its way through the floor. So we gotta get that taken care of this week. And then the AC went out last night, probably at about 9 o'clock. It was hard to tell because the fan was still blowing, but the cooling element just stopped working. And I noticed when I went to, I noticed it was about 80 after I turned off the stove from blanching my peaches. And I thought, okay, well, I heated up the house with that, so that'll catch up. And it was set, like once it turns dark, we turn it down to 77. And when I looked at it again at like 1 a.m., it was 83. And it was really hot, and everyone else had fallen asleep while it was a little bit cooler, but because I was already up and I'm already very hot natured, I could not sleep. And so I got 2 or 3 very rough hours of sleep, and then I got up to go out and see if I could like hose off the AC or something, and I tried that, but the fan just wasn't spinning. Apparently the fan disconnected from the motor. So we've got a guy coming this afternoon. So that's the update on that. And let's see, my sponge is getting a little bit bubbly, but it's going to take a few more minutes because it's a quadruple recipe. now rolling out my butter block. When you make a laminated dough, which is like a flaky dough, laminated means that the dough has been layered with like butter, like where there's dough butter, but dough butter, dough butter. So you can do it many ways. Technically, like, so a pie dough, flaky pie dough is usually made where you simply mix in large pieces of butter so that there are layers, but they're not like even. But laminated dough, like a croissant or a queen amand, will be more like a like you literally make a butter block like this, and then you you put it in the dough. You'll see, but you put it in the dough, roll it, fold it, roll it, fold it. So you literally are making like smooth, even layers of butter in between the layers of dough. So the best way to do that, in my opinion, everybody has their favorite way, is to beat the butter nice and cold with a little bit of flour just to help it connect with the dough later, so it's not sliding around as much. And then you just roll it into a nice pretty block. This could be better, but it could be worse. And then I'm going to put it back in the fridge so that it's nice and cold when it's time to actually roll it. I've already had my daylight scared out of me because this is supposed to be a pretty empty place, but somebody came in early. There is an event later today, but everything's on schedule, so, and everything's working just fine. The beautiful thing about a laminated dough is that between the folding and rolling, they're called turns, you have to wait like an hour in between so that the dough, the gluten that you're creating, the gluten bonds that you're creating in the dough, so that they can relax, so that they can stretch when you roll it out again, because you're really doing a lot with that elasticity. And if you don't let it rest, it will not only be like tough and chewy and firm, but it may actually tear. It will almost definitely tear just with that amount of like work. So there's a lot of like downtime in between to clean and get your other elements done. So by the time you're ready to bake the dough, everything is ready to be done. And then while it's baking, you can do your last little bit of cleanup. And by the time you pull them out of the oven, you're ready to go pretty much. So that's the wonderful thing about a laminated dough. It does take like 5 hours or 6. Well, it's gonna, like, I've got 6 hours set aside, but once your 6 hours is up, you can just leave. And it's kind of nice. It's like, for me, it's also nice just because I haven't had this much like alone time in the quiet, and I love it. I'm an introvert and I never get this kind of time, so it's making me feel excited about getting back into professional baking soon. That mystery job, I can't wait to tell you guys about it, but I have to. One of the big important tricks with Queen Amand that's essential is that you butter and sugar the cups so that you have a nice caramel, almost crispy crust on the outside of the bread when you bake it off. It's essential because the Queen Amand is not actually like terribly sweet on its own. It does have sugar between the layers, but you'd be surprised like how far it doesn't stretch. But when you put that extra little crust of sugar on the outside, it takes it from croissant to sticky bun, or at least somewhere right in between. Got a big bowl of cinnamon sugar here, and I've got my butter, and I've got my pans. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get all of my muffin pans ready to bake. Not getting on the bottom, but anyway. So yeah, you just... there's your sugared pan. Just have to do that 5 more times. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys this. This is some leftover dough from when I did my test batch. So these are just going to be like to give my friends and family. But I figured as long as I was baking, I would go ahead and bake it off. But I wanted to show you why you have to let it rest, because I just rolled this out and I just thawed it from frozen and then rolled it out. And I want you to watch this gluten, because like this is what gluten does. Okay, I'm rolling it out like this. Now watch it spring back. It's just like pulling on its own. Let's see if I can get it to do it on the other side. You ready? See that? Pulling back, like it went out to here and it just pulled back almost half an inch. And this is now pulled back an inch. See? So that is why you have to let your dough rest, because if I were to cut it right now, it would shrink. So I would need to cut it twice as big, but then it would be thicker than I actually want. So I have to just let it sit for a minute, actually like 10 minutes, and then I will cut it and make some extras that are not going to be going to the judges for the competition. Just if you want to see how much butter is in these, it's It's already soaked in a little bit, but it came out with like a puddle at the bottom. This is the test batch, so I'll have better footage of the new fresh one. But she just finished eating spicy food, yeah.